biggest hit of the game. Sandy Alcantara, one hell of a pitcher they went up against last night. And isn't it interesting, Peter, that the last time we played this team with Wander in the lineup, July 26th, he shut us down, complete game. It was a whitewash.
Yep.
Last night, this scrappy bunch just kept getting after it. And then Jose Zuri came up in the sixth and got the big 2-run double. Thought he hit it out. It was staring it down. Luckily, he got to second base, or we'd be admonishing him today.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the big hit, and that was all there was for Alcantara last night. And the Rays went on to an 11-2 win. That's 9 of their last 11 since Wander has left the team, 12 of their last 15, 6 series in a row they've won, and I don't think they've picked up any ground at all on the Orioles during that time. The Orioles are still 2 games up. They can't lose. It's just ridiculous how they're playing great baseball as well.
They are 10-4 without Wander, and of course, it was a close game last night until that 6th inning, and somehow, some way, they're able, to get that to get the time run in with Isaiah Paredes.
Isaac Paredes, football boy.
Yes.
Get it right.
Yes, absolutely. And then he hits a 3-run shot later on, 27th of the year. I mean, it was impressive. And you talk about it, this pitcher in July just completely dominated this lineup at Tropicana. So, once again, the Bats finding a way here. We got a call. You want to go out to the phone lines really quick?
We got calls today. Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Right. Welcome to the JP Peterson Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. All right.
I heard the keyboard.
I heard the keyboard. What's going on with that? Yeah, see, there you go. That's what you get, live phone calls. But the phone number is out there, 727-255-0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. It's the JP Peterson Show. I'm your host.
This is why we don't take calls. You guys got to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Give us a good take. Be intelligent. Don't be drunk. We don't ask for much here. Just try to add something to the show. Yandy Diaz played last night. Thankfully, I still go back to the Yankees series, and I'm still pissed about that whole thing. And thank God Yandy's not out for the year with a broken forearm. Thank God Paredes isn't in a hospital. Getting hit in the head. Sorry, get a little allergies here.
I got to read this comment here. You're gonna love this. Maybe it was Stu. He didn't pay enough for the visits.
Stu was on the line, got a little stage fright.
Yeah, I guess so.
Evidently, are we on YouTube here, partner?
Yeah, we are. We are on YouTube. Absolutely. I don't know what's going on. We're on your YouTube and we're on the Fan Stream YouTube.
All right. Just
Weird.
double checking here.
Okay.
We got all the things going out today. Yep. Looks like we're good to go. So I know there's a lot of power outages out there, and technology sucks anyway these days. So Lord knows it's going to be worse. All right. Yandy Diaz 2 for 5 last night. Now 327, leading the American League. What a phenomenal baseball player he has become since he's come to the Rays. Got the chance to have his 6-week-old son there last night. I guess he lives down in Miami, so that was kind of cool for him. Aaron Savali last night with a nice outing. 32 pitches in the first, Peter. I was like, oh, God, this is going to be a long night.
Yep.
Alcantara is going to shut us down. Savali doesn't have it, but he gutted it out. He got the bases loaded, 2 outs, got the ground ball to get out of that inning with only 1 run, 32 pitches. So he hung in there, got 5 innings in, got the win. So gutsy effort from him. But this, the bottom line is this lineup just keeps hitting. They keep hitting like it was April and May. And, again, without Wander Franco, I thought, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough for them to score runs. But there's no question, in my mind at least, that this team has definitely gelled since his departure. They've come together. They're piecing it all together. They're getting great at-bats. It looks a lot like April and May, where they're much more pitch selective. They're not chasing. They're not all trying to be heroes and hit bombs. And maybe that was a little bit of it. Maybe, Randy was trying to outdo Wander, and Siri was trying to outdo Wander, and everybody was trying to keep up with him and, trying to get the limelight. And now it seems like it's more of a team now. The team approach. Guys are taking their walks when they're given to them. Guys are going the other way. They're shortening up with 2 strikes. They're playing more team ball. And I don't know. Maybe I'm making more of it than it is, but you can't deny the results since he left the team.
I definitely don't think you're making more than it is, honestly, because this team has been able to score more runs, put together great at-bats. Once again, Josh Lowe doing great things there. You talk about Yandy. Randy Arozarena. Isn't it encouraging to see once again him hit a 2-run home run to put the game basically out of reach? And again, this game was close 2-1. So it's not like they were, doing it all night long. They weren't. But that is the great thing about this Rays team. They continue to do it in the later innings. They're putting together great at-bats. And 10-4 without Wander. So they're finding a way to win. Even though the O's continue to win, they're finding a way to win. And that big-time series is coming up here in, a couple of weeks with Baltimore? Yeah. Again, that may decide the AL East. And you feel good about this team right now because they are getting it done in the later innings. Yeah, so great job by the Rays. By the way, Paul Stewart's going to join us from across the pond. We're going to argue about the Ryder Cup and talk some Buccaneers. Yeah. His website is doing buckpower.com is doing the top 100 Buccaneers. So we're getting into the top 20 now, top 10. So we'll chat with him about that and all things Buccaneers and the final roster, which was released yesterday. I shouldn't say final roster because this will probably move a little bit in the next couple of weeks, but not much. I think most of the waiver claims have probably gone through, and the surprises for me on this roster are just all the young kids. 19 new players on this team, 13 rookies, 4 rookies that are probably going to start. And you're talking about a couple of second-year players that are going to start, and Rashad White and Cade Otton. This is a very different team than the Super Bowl team, but it still has a nice core of champions, right? Especially on the defensive end. Right. You got the 2 corners in Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield, who hopefully will be healthy to start against the Vikings. You got obviously Levante David, Devin White. So there's a core there defensively that have the Super Bowl championship pedigree. Offensively, you got Tristan Wirfs, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That's about it from the offensive side left from the Super Bowl. But that's okay. This team was the oldest and slowest team in football last year, and now will be one of the younger teams and probably one of the faster teams as well. They've added some speed to this team in Devin Tompkins on the outside, and the guy that will probably start at the number 3 wide receiver, Trey Palmer, who was the fastest receiver in the draft. Rashad White's got some giddy up to him as well. Sean Tucker was one of the fastest running backs in the draft. So, Jason Light set out to make this team younger and really by necessity, right? You got $35 million dead cap from Tom Brady. Thanks for that. You got, I think, almost $55 million in dead cap money that you can't really work with. So they had to get a lot of new players and a lot of new rookies. And look, nothing is promised in this league. And let's be honest, rookies take time to develop in this league. But I still, overall, when I look at this roster, I see, 9, 10, maybe 11 wins, depending on how good this offense can be behind Baker Mayfield. Your thoughts on the roster? I mean, I love the roster. I love, again, the whole determination of, look, we're going to get younger. We're going to get faster at some positions. We're not going to be the old guys. We're not going to be called by the national media the old guys. We're going to get younger there and faster. So you're depending on a lot of undrafted free agents at some key positions. And then on top of it, you still have veteran players from that Super Bowl. So it certainly seems like it makes lots of sense. And for me, I'm excited about the offense. I'm excited about Baker being at the controls there and seeing Rashad White. And I feel like if they come out and do what they did against Baltimore, and I get it, Baltimore is running a second or third string defense, but you come out with that tempo, and then it opens up that playbook that much more. So I like what they've done. I like what Jason Light has done. You've kind of reset it. And then on top of it, once you get rid of all that dead money, JP, you're going to be that much better in the years to come.
Yeah, that's where this team is heading. And And we've said it from the very beginning. This is going to be, a year where they start rebuilding. You can still go out and win games, and certainly in this division, you can win this division while you're rebuilding. That's what you would like to do. I'm not a tanking guy. I'm not one. I don't think you have to do that in the NFL. You can go out and you don't necessarily have to have the number 1 or number 1 through 5 overall pick to get a quarterback that's going to lead you. I mean, we've seen most of the great quarterbacks in this league right now, I'd probably say, are outside the top 5. Patrick Mahomes is outside I'm not sure about Josh Allen. I think he might have been number 3. But a lot of these quarterbacks were found outside the top 5. Certainly, anybody tanking for a quarterback, how has that worked out? Certainly didn't work out for the Buccaneers, even though they only tanked 1 game. But, the Jameis experiment didn't work out. The times they've won Super Bowls, it's been with a free agent quarterback. So maybe Baker's that guy. Maybe he's not. But I think he can be definitely a bridge guy to that guy and have a nice little run here in Tampa. You never know. So we'll see.
You never know. And you're exactly right, JP. 2018 goes back to it. Baker's number 1. Sam Darnold, I believe, is number 3 to the Jets. And then Josh Allen, actually, Buffalo makes a trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7. The Bucs trade down and get who? Vita Vea.
Right. Yeah. So I don't believe in tanking. I believe in winning and having a winning culture. Look what the Eagles did. They stayed competitive from their Super Bowl win and then got back to the Super Bowl this year with a new quarterback, granted, but not somebody that was taken in the top 5. They a second-round pick in Jalen Hurts. So I don't believe in tanking. I don't think it works. Like, it's a bad strategy all around. So for all you guys around there, let's get 2 wins and get Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb Williams is like some surefire deal, right? Yeah. I mean, we've heard there's reports about him being selfish, immature. We saw last year with the stuff he put on his knuckles. I'm not the dude is incredibly talented. There's no question about that. But let's not go ahead and anoint him as the next Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think that's a little much. So give me Baker Mayfield right now in this offense with this group, and I'm good to go. All right, well, let's reach across the pond where hopefully the weather is better. It isn't usually, but our good friend Paul Stewart from BuckPower.com joining us here this morning. Good morning to you, Paul. How are you?
Very well. Good afternoon from a very sunny southwest of England. Yeah, I've been looking at some of the video footage from the Tampa area. It's a bit scary. I've only ever been there for 1 or 2 hurricanes. You guys must get used to it.
We are. It's just part of living here. Don't get overexcited. Take care of your business. Know when it's a real one and when it's one of these hyped up ones, which a lot of them are. But this one, certainly has some punch to it. It's going to put a lot of water onto the West Coast. We've already seen it up and down the Gulf Coast. So people are going to have to, there's going to be a lot of damage. It's going to be some water damage, but loss of life is probably going to be at a minimum. So that's good. So yeah, we get used to it. It's part of it. Just like you guys get used to eating crappy food and never seeing the sun. It's just part of living in England.
Really throwing a punch across the Atlantic. So I guess the smack talk starting early. I do remember playing golf at the old Airco golf course, which is now gone. And I played it the day after Hurricane George came through in '98. And there was branches all over the course. And at one point, there was a log on the side of the fairway. And the log then looked at me and I thought, do you know what? You can have my golf ball. I'll go and play from the other side of the fairway.
Yeah, we're even used to that now. Gators don't even bother us on the golf course. We just like, give me my ball back. Just get them. Just they'll run away. They want no part of us. So we're not scared of hurricanes.
Well, we're not scared of alligators. The last time the Gators were threatening, they did a Netflix documentary about them.
Yeah, the untold story that is still very much untold. That's the line going around. That was a Urban Meyer rehabilitation piece. I think it wasn't much about what really was going on. Hey, with that leaves a good, good-hearted Seminole like myself to go do a real documentary on that team. So we'll put that in the works. We'll give you the real story.
Yeah, I did watch the documentary. I enjoyed watching it. It was a nice background story, but I did the part in episode 2 where a young Tampa sports reporter turned up who I knew. That surprised me a little bit.
Clearly the highlight of the entire 4 episodes where some cocky sportscaster who may or may not have Seminole roots saying the Ohio State's going to take care of business. I mean, they were 17-point favorites. Let's not forget that. So, and if not for Ryan Suckup getting his field goal blocked, the Gators wouldn't have even been in that. But I digress. I'm getting all my Gator fans mad at me. Listen, tip of the cap to Gators winning those 2 national championships. Those were fantastic teams on the field. They were really, really good. They were physical. They were nasty. They played hard. Tip of the cap. Everybody has luck when they win a national championship. You got to get some luck. FSU, got Boston College to beat Notre Dame the week after they lost to Notre Dame to get back into it. That we got lucky there. So everybody's got to have some luck to win a national championship. The Gators did, but you also got to be really freaking good. You got to be really freaking good and talented, and they were. But let's not kill ourselves. There was a lot more to the story, and we'll leave it at that. All right, let me ask you, Paul, about this the final 53-man roster. Any surprises for you? What did we learn about this team by the final 53?
Well, what I thought, JP, was, and I was going back 20 years ago to when the Bucs won their first Super Bowl. They never went through a rebuilding process, because John Gruden refused to do so. He kept plugging in veteran after veteran after veteran, and the team was getting slower and slower. The roster. So this time, it's good to see. Look, I've got no problem with what the Bucs did last year and the year before. The window was still just about open. They had a go. Brady proved he couldn't throw the ball through the window last year, so that was the end of the run. Let's go for it this year. Rebuild it. Get rid of the dead cap. I've got no problem with seeing all these young faces on the team. And I think it's great. And we just got to have realistic expectations. So the question I put to you the other day is, who gets more wins, the Seminoles or the Buccaneers this year, JP?
That's going to be a close one. But when you throw in the bowl game and the ACC championship, I think FSU has a better chance. They're going to be favored in probably, I would say, 11 of their 12 regular season games, or maybe 10 of their 12. At least. Then they get an ACC championship game, which will probably be a rematch against Clemson, and then they'll get a bowl game. So I expect them to get at least 11 to 12 wins. If not, it might be a disappointing season. So I don't know if the Bucs can get to 11. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. But I'm going to give the edge to my Seminoles.
All right, I got to ask Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I had to go on record now, I would say 7-10, because I still think the NFC South is a weak division. Carolina, rookie quarterback who can't see over his lineman. Atlanta, Ridder's only played a handful of games. You've got to expect the Saints to probably be the class of the division at the moment with their last hurrah with Derek Carr. So I would say 7 wins realistic. If we get above that, fantastic. I would rather be pleasantly surprised than bitterly disappointed.
All right, Paul, I got to ask you, do you feel better about this quarterback situation with Baker now the starter, or do you still feel like Trask should be the eventual starter in your opinion?
Well, I know this YouTube 2-hour program is brought to you by the Baker Mayfield Fan Appreciation Society, because I know how JP thinks about this at the moment. My view is, I think it's easier to go from Mayfield to Trask than the other way round. If Kyle Trask started and had a couple of bad games, the crowd would be screaming for Mayfield. Now, JP can remember the last time the Bucs had a real quarterback controversy. 1990, 1991, Vinny Testaverde, Chris Chandler. Chandler was stirring it up big time in the locker room, in the media, and he ended up being cut from the team simply because they couldn't stand him being around any longer. And that completely decimated that team. So I would rather go with Mayfield now. If it doesn't work, then Kyle Trask has shown me enough in the preseason that we can go to him. I like the way it's been done. But if, again, over or under 10 games, Mayfield starting, I will take the under.
Interesting. I do think Trask will get a shot at some point, but maybe more because of the way Baker plays. Baker plays a reckless game. He likes to run. He's going to put himself in danger. Probably shouldn't as much. So he's, his history is getting injured. That's just his history. So I think Trask might get a shot for injury's sake. And I do think the offense is going to start slow. For my money, and you've been listening to the show, and I'd like to get your take on this. I don't think they've played enough in the preseason together. And I think there's very valuable evaluation you can get when you're playing your starters. It's not just about, did they run the plays right? Did they get in and out of the huddle right? Which seems to be the most important thing to Todd Bowles. To me, as a coach, I want to see, is my right side of my line, can it get pushed in certain situations? Can they go, can they play into the second half and still have some stamina? That's another question. Are they ready to go, and are they in game shape as much as they should be? Because they've only played 2 series together in the preseason. Is Tristan Wirth, has he got enough reps in game time situations? Because even though it's a preseason game, it's different. Going up against another team, you could get much better evaluation. They got 2 series of tape to look at how their first team compares or goes up against other teams. I don't think it's enough. So that being said, I think the offense is going to start slow, and I hope they're not too impatient with Baker Mayfield. Listen, I know you're a Kyle Trask fan, and I'm not saying this. Although Madden 24, which is the greatest predictor of all, says my boy Mayfield's going to throw for 4,500, 35 or 36 touchdowns and 8 picks. So I mean, they know better than they predicted the last 3 Super Bowls. So I think he's well ahead of Kyle Trask at this point. Well ahead. Kyle, look at the last game. Kyle missed three open guys, 2 of them in the end zone. And another was a layup on his first series off a bootleg. You can't miss those passes. So he still gets a little amped up, is a little bit, over amped, throws the ball high. He's got to give the receivers a chance to make a play. Baker's been damn near perfect in the preseason, 14 to 15. That's not enough, but he's a much more accurate passer. He's a professional. Kyle's just not there yet. So I think Kyle will get his shot, but I'm glad Baker's the guy.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying with that. It's not that I'm a Kyle Trask fan. It's that I've been burnt watching Baker Mayfield so far in the NFL. I know you say he had limited chances in Carolina with the Rams because of the situation he was put in, but show me on the field. All he's shown me so far is that he can't do it in the NFL. Now, I'd love to be surprised. So that is why I was in favour of going with Trask, but I totally understand why they've gone Mayfield now. We will see. As I said, I don't want to see a quick hook. I want to see him going through 4 or 5 games. But I think, like you say, the Bucs haven't played their starters enough. Looking around the NFL, most NFL teams aren't playing their starters. It really has become the way to go that Peterson is almost like, okay, throw a couple of passes, run it once, and go and stand on the bench and do your interviews with Dan Lucas. That's fine. Let's see when we get into Minnesota how it goes. But like you say, let's not jump to conclusions if it doesn't go well right from day one.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I tend to be more optimistic than others. I think this team has an opportunity to win 10 because I don't think their schedule is that tough. And then on top of it, they play in the NFC South, which Carolina's not great. Atlanta's not great. You don't know what to expect. The Saints, they're getting older there defensively. I mean, for me, I think Baker just hasn't had the opportunity. Different offensive coordinators, different coaches, stuff like that affects a quarterback's development. With that being said, talking about the quarterback situation, what's the biggest key for you or your biggest your takeaway here that you're watching? Is it the offensive line that's your biggest question mark coming into this year, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, again, let's see. We've got new starters at left guard and right tackle. We've got a change in positions. Again, let's not panic if it doesn't go well on the first game or first couple of games. Let's give them time to develop. I've got faith in what Dave Canales is doing and what the coaching staff is doing. There's enough experience there. I want to see Rachaad White doing well. I hope it's not completely overused. And, we do share it around. We've got enough young backs there. But I said the one position I'm actually scared about is receiver, because behind Evans and Godwin there is nothing. There is really nothing. There's a lot of potential, but potential means nothing until you've done it on the field. Let's see how we go as the season starts. If we get through right now, if they offered you 2-2 for the first 4 games, would you take it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
You farting confetti, baby. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I'm going to actually do a parlay bet. I'm going to parlay us winning 7 with Scotty Scheffler missing every putt inside 10 foot, Europe winning the Ryder Cup and beating you in November at your club, JP. That's a pretty good parlay.
That's a pretty good parlay, especially the Scheffler part. And I always wanted to play. Say, man, I'd love to play by Scotty Scheffler. I can putt better than him. And best ball striker on as we nice segue there, professional segue into the Ryder Cup trash talk. The U.S. team was named yesterday. Justin Thomas, I think, clearly has not played his way onto the team, but I think what Zach Thomas said yesterday is spot on. He's the heart and soul of this team in terms of emotion. You just really feel like he's going to rise to the occasion because let's be honest, the Ryder Cup is more about, what's between here than it is. All these guys can play. They're all fantastic players, 1 through 12 on both teams. But it's who can handle the moment, who can handle that. And you got to believe Justin Thomas can do that as good as anybody. What are your thoughts on the U.S. team? Take your shots where you will.
I think it was a very good selection bringing Justin Thomas in because in the past, the Americans have had 12 fantastic players, but they were 12 players. There was no team. You look at how Tiger and Phil played. They didn't care about the team attitude at all. And that legendary partnership when they put them together, that was hilarious. So the European team has always played as a team, and that's why they've won so many of the recent games. So Justin Thomas had to go on that Ryder Cup team. And I think it is probably the strongest team Americas could have sent out. Now you're going to see when the European team's announced next week, Justin Rose is going to get a captain's pick because of his experience and because of what he brings to the locker room. Because the bottom end of the European roster are going to be a bunch of no-names. The likes of Adrian Maronk, Seb Straka, even Yannick Paul could get in. Most Americans are going to be going, who? And they're all going to be making their debut. So this is where you need that experience. And this is where Justin is definitely going to get a pick next week from Captain Luke Donald.
What did you think of? I mean, I guess it's kind of a no-brainer to add Brooks Koepka on there, but how do you think he fits in from a chemistry standpoint with this team? Obviously, his live golf roots. I wouldn't say he's well-liked on tour. It's not just in a few guys that have beefs with Brooks Koepka. How do you think that dynamic works with the U.S. team?
Well, what I've been hearing is that there's going to be 3 locker rooms in Rome. There's going to be a locker room for the 12 Europeans, a locker room for the 11 Americans, and one for Brooks Koepka and his ego.
I think that would be best. Can he play by himself in a doubles match? I don't know. Is that possible?
I played a pairs match last week on my own, so I know what it's like. So, I mean, looking at it now, right now, we're going to be umming and erring about the situation for the next month. It's going to be a toss-up, as it always is, because there are so many great players. The Europeans have got the best top 3 in Rahm, McIlroy, and Hovland. Then it's pretty even through 4 through 8, and then it gets down to where the Americans can have the strength. But we'll see. I mean, the Americans haven't won a Ryder Cup on European soil since 1993, when Davis Love led the team at the Belfry. So it's been a long time. I seem to recall you and I having a side bet on the Ryder Cup, which I lost about 15 years ago. I don't intend to have to pay up again, JP.
Well, listen. First of all, I don't even know what this golf course is in Rome. They didn't even know they had golf courses in Italy. All they did, I thought, was drink pasta, drink wine, and the men constantly molesting the women in Italy. I think that was all they really did there. Now I guess they actually do have golf courses in Italy. I didn't even know that. What do we know about this golf course?
It's hosted the Italian Open for the last few years. Now, the Italians have had quite a few players in the Ryder Cup. Constantino Rocca, of course, was a big part of it and close to winning the Open. The Molinari brothers have both been there. It's a very, very good course, and it's a very much a stadium course for fans to appreciate. So it'll give you some fantastic views. And quite a few of the Americans went over to play the Italian Open early in the year. So it is a great venue. It is the first time it's been held there. And just like when they had the Ryder Cup in France 4 years ago, it helps promote the game around Europe. It's going to promote the game in Italy. So it will be a great venue. It's better than the Belfry, which held it 4 times over here, which is just a bunch of cow fields with some flags put in it. I've played the Belfry, and it's the most overrated course I've ever seen. So again, it's about money. It'll be a great venue, JP, and as always, it'll be a great sporting spectacle. And I hope you guys come second.
That's not happening. Well, I don't know. I mean, this all you can always go into as an American. You're like, oh, we've got the deeper team, but those 3 guys at the top of the European team right now with Rahm, McIlroy, and Hovland, and what Victor Hovland has done the past 2 weeks, I don't think he's missed a shot the last 2 weeks. I mean, he is just playing ridiculously good golf, and I know it's still a couple weeks away, but those 3 guys can carry a team, and that concerns me. But the overall depth, I would give it to the United States. But again, the crowd's going to be against them. How strong mentally are some of these, the guys that maybe haven't been there before? How strong are they going to be? The Harmons, those guys, Homa. I don't know. That's the part that bothers me. But maybe we've turned the corner with this last win. It was pretty dominant, and we'll see. But I always hate the fact that the Ryder Cup is in the middle of football season. Like, I wish it wasn't, because it deserves its own. Like, I would rather it be like late August, maybe beginning of August, before we get into that stuff, just so it can have its own just be the event going on in because that's kind of a downtime for American sports. I don't know about the UK, but I wish it was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, they always schedule it for about the end of September, or just after the Gators have been eliminated from national championship consideration. So I think what it is, I mean, you and I have talked about this on air many times, JP. As American public, you're not used to supporting your country in sporting events. Whereas over here, we all have our club teams. When you watch soccer, Manchester United or Tottenham, but you all get together to support England. And we support England at cricket and at rugby and all the different events. Very rarely you get behind your country sport. It's a very rare thing, because all the main sports you play, you would dominate a world championship. So it's a very unusual thing to start cheering for your country. And whereas over here, we're used to it. So that's why there seems to be much more partisan support when the Ryder Cup is played on this side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, it's a great point you make. I mean, we get up for the Olympics, probably. Our U.S. team just crushed it at the track and field, and nobody really cared. The first time they won the relays, swept the relays, I think, in 30 years, and nobody really cared, to be quite honest, which I think is bad. I'm a sucker for the patriotic stuff. That's why I love the Ryder Cup. That's why I love the Olympics. But we just went through a situation where half our nation was rooting against our own women's soccer team. Now I don't like that dynamic. I didn't root against them. But, to say that there were no feelings towards the players that kneeled when they were having USA on their chest and being paid by the United States of America to play soccer, I think, I'll defend to the death their right to express their political feelings in any way. But to me, that sucks. That's an awful thing to do. And so I understand where a lot of people were rooting against us. But that's the first time in my lifetime I've ever felt it palpable that people were rooting against the national team. Now, I don't think that'll come into play with Ryder Cup at all. I don't think there's any, hopefully there'll be no political statements made by any of these players. I would be deplorable, in my opinion, if they were to do that with the playing of the national anthem. But I go back to this women's national team, and that was sad. That's a sad chapter in American history that actually took place, to be quite honest. I don't know what your take was from across the pond.
Yeah, we saw it, and it was like you say, it was very palpable and noticeable how the American fans were not behind that team, because it seemed like they were playing for themselves. They had a chance to make a statement, and it was, well, we'd rather make a statement than go out and try and win a World Cup. And when they got beaten, in the qualifying, the knockout stages, all the other countries were very glad they were beaten. And, it was some word by because they didn't care. They were so arrogant about, they thought, we're the American women's soccer team, we're better than everybody else. Well, no, you weren't. And England got to the final. It was a great thing over here. They're trying to promote the women's sport over here, almost going too far with the promotion of it. It's never going to be as big as the men's World Cup and men's Premier League. But the England team got to the final. They did their best. They got beaten by Spain. Great success. Everyone got behind them. And it's a shame, like you say, it's a shame the American public could not get behind the 11 players representing their country.
Yeah, hopefully that's over now that Megan Rapinoe has retired, and her final kick will be missing the entire frame and penalties to lose it. So that will be her legacy in my mind. Others will have other opinions, but it is what it is. And hopefully we can move on with some more unity in the community, as our good friend Chris Thomas used to say.
Nice.
All right, my friend, you're getting down to the final top 10 in your buckpower.com greatest players of in Bucs history. You gotten any pushback yet from some of your some questionable selections?
Yeah, so we've counted down the top 100 players in franchise history. We reached number 18 today, Simeon Rice. If you go on Buck Power, follow me on social media, you'll see all the clips and the highlights of the players. I've had a couple of people. I had one guy criticize me last week about some of my selections, and then he admitted he hadn't heard of half players. So that sort of pretty much ruled him out for any consideration. So what's been quite funny is I'm friends with many former players. I've had them trying to bribe, hey, include me in the top 100 and I'll give you a free game of golf. Hey, I thought we were buddies. Are you going to include me? So there's going to be an honourable mentions list with a list of all the people who tried to bribe me to get into the list. So we're getting down to the really top players. We do still have 2 quarterbacks to go. I can tell you now, Tom Brady will not be the top Buccaneer quarterback of all time. And I think you can guess who the top one is. And it's not Jameis Winston. But it's interesting. Who do you think were the best players? And you're only looking at what they did on the field for the Bucs, not what they did in their career. Otherwise, you've got the likes of Steve Young, Joey Browner, Randall McDaniel would all get in, but it's only what they did for the Buccaneers. So Brady is only considered for his 3 years in Tampa. We're getting to the really serious players. We had Dave Moore yesterday, and I had to include Dave Moore in the top 20 because he knows where I live.
Dave Moore in the top 20? Oh, now that's a bribe. As much as I love Dave Moore. Come on. In the top 20?
It's not just looking at statistics, JP. It's looking at length of what they've done, their impact on the team, on and off the field. Okay. So I did think hard about that one. Again, he's not the top tight end in Buccaneer history. I think we all know who the best tight end in Bucs history is. And if anyone here says Rob Gronkowski, they're immediately getting deleted from my social media account. It is. I mean, this is a good discussion. You can do that in your next segment.
Yes,
should Dave Moore have been in the top 20? TJ Reeves will definitely come on and say he should have been. You
forgot the most important criteria: how many free games of golf he gave you. That's the most important criteria.
Yeah, Dave offered me a trip fishing on his boat.
There you go. There you go. You can be had for an easy fishing trip. I can see how. No, this list is completely illegitimate.
I'm a freelance, JP. I'll do anything for money. You know the business.
Hey, you know me. We're all media whores, right? We'll take anything for free. If it's free, it's for me, and we'll take 3. That's what we always say in the media.
The phrase that was used over here, and the phrase was used, is that journalists were a bit like hookers. We'll both do anything for money, except journalists have got no morals at all.
On that, we will end it, my friend. I would highly applaud that. All right, Paul, buckpower.com is the website. Go check it out. You are the official, unofficial historian of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We love your takes. And so what are we betting on the Ryder Cup? Let's get it out there right now. What are we betting?
I want to hear this.
Last time I had to bring you over a packet of English tea because I remember meeting you at an outside broadcast at Hooters. And having to pass the tea over because my daughter took a photo of it. So we'll have to think of something. I'm definitely not giving you – there are no shots when we play our match in November. We're playing off scratch when we play. So
come on. What are we doing here?
I knew this was going to start.
All right. I'm going to have to tune up my game then.
JP. We'll play for shirts from our home clubs. So if Europe win, you have to give me a shirt from your club. If America win, I'll bring you a shirt over from my home club. How about that?
Will you take an Airco T-shirt? No, that won't. A Hall of Shame.
I'm expecting a very nice polo shirt, which you can then pose with on social media for everyone to see.
All right, sounds good, Paul. All right, buckpower.com. Check him out on Twitter and also his website. Really good stuff. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, we'll get more into the Buccaneers roster and some NFL stories that are popping up. We'll also talk some college football. Who's going to be USF starting quarterback? Anybody know? I'm not sure if the coach knows. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. You may have some insurance issues after this hurricane. Why not get an attorney to help you out? The Jeeves Law Group is there for you, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back after this. Stay with us.
The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. And I'm your host, Peter Blake, here as we are just waiting for JP to get back on here. The phone lines are open if you want to get on them and talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers or, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays and their big win last night. As we are back, my friend, how you doing? There you go. We are back here. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. So welcome back, JP. How is the weather conditions there in Orlando right now?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. We've had a couple squalls come through, just some rain and a little bit of wind. Probably 15, 20 miles an hour of wind. One of the things I was just doing was one of our friends was stupid enough to leave their car at sea level, living right off of Port. Anyway, we won't say the location. I just can't. People are like, "Whoa, the eye's not going to hit us, so there's not going to be any damage." How can you not be smart enough to understand if you're on the northeast side of the storm, like the entire Gulf Coast is? Yeah. If you were near if you're near the Gulf, you're going to get a storm surge of 3 to 5 feet above normal. If you park your car just off of where there's water in a bay, guess what? Your car is going to be flooded. And you can't fix stupid.
You definitely can't do that.
Shut up!
Yeah.
I feel for people that do the right things, and bad things happen. That's part of it. But when you're just that dumb, you deserve whatever you get. And unfortunately, there are people that continue to do that. But anyway, I get pissed off about it because these insurance premiums go through the roof, right? All these are, we all end up paying for it anyway. So, move your cars to higher ground. That's like rule one. If you got a parking garage nearby, go or someplace that's higher ground, move your car. It's going to be inconvenient, but you'll save your car in the long run.
Here's a thought also. Don't drive in high water. If you think it's too high, don't drive through that, okay? Don't do it.
I saw a picture of a white SUV on Bayshore where the water was up to like the door.
Right.
Like, did you think your big SUV was gonna get through water like that? Do you really think your 4-wheel drive was gonna go? Like who's the U-boat commander? That's the way it is.
Right. It's always the truck thing too. It's always the guys with the big trucks. They try to run you off the road. You know what I'm talking about. It's always those guys that try to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly, Callie. Exactly.
Amazon here. Hey, shut up.
Same thing. The black dog and Alex, same thing all the time. So, yeah, there you go. He's going to quiet him down there. So, again, open phone lines if you want to talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think about the latest roster cuts there? What are your expectations? Do you feel better about it? 727-255-0391. And the other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528.
How about Thomas Casper? Hello, Thomas.
Yes.
Bucs kicker is shaky. What was it? The 14 of 14 in the preseason that made you think he was shaky?
Yeah. What's that all about? Shaky.
He didn't miss a kick.
He didn't miss a kick in the preseason. I mean, these are the things right here. And again, I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm always, interested in fan interaction, especially with this show. We're going to try to get that up more. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go live from my page tomorrow because we're going to see if we can get some more fan interaction with this show, the JP Peterson Show. But I'm amazed at some of the things that are being said on social media. Bucs kicker is shaky. This is shaky. This is shaky. It's like, come on, man. You're just trying to find things to down this team, or you're most likely one of those people out there that wants this team to tank.
Yeah, that might be part of it. I'm looking at Chase McLaughlin's career. The last 2 years, he's been a starter. He's been with a lot of different teams. So the last 2 years, he's 78.8% on field goals. You want that to be at 80%. So it hasn't been great. Mm-hmm. From distance, though, 50 plus, the guy's 17 of 21. That's, hello. I'll take that 17 of 21 from 50 plus.
Yeah.
He's made a 57-yarder. He's 88 of 90 on extra points. That's not too bad. Look, he's not a Pro Bowler, but I would say to say he's shaky. It's interesting is his 40 to 49 He's 19 of 32.
Mm.
That's where he struggled. Like, he's better from 50 plus than he is from 40 to 49, which is kind of bizarre.
Right.
But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He seems to. I like older kickers. He's been around a while. It's his 5th season. He certainly was better than the stooge with the glasses from Georgia, Blankenship. That guy was terrible. I mean, get him out of here. So.
He missed a 32-yard field goal. Basically, turn in your playbook. It's basically over at the end of the day. But that's the reason why you make the signing in the first place with McLaughlin, because Suckup, even though he's great at 40 to 49, the Bucs wanted to upgrade from 50 yards. 17 for 21, that's basically what you're looking at the end of it. So I understand what the Bucs are doing. And I know, again, there's a lot of Bucs fans that are concerned about the kicking situation. They love Ryan Suckup because he is so good from 40 to 49. But Todd Bowles and Jason Light and this whole organization have basically told you in so many words, we want to upgrade the kicker position. We want to upgrade every position at this point and also get younger.
Yeah, I think McLaughlin will be fine. But really, this is where it comes into play here. Every time they were in that 30 at the opponent's 35 to 45, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Todd Bowles is bringing out Camarda to punt. I'm like, first of all, you should be going for it in those situations. If it's 4th and 7 or less, you got to be going for it when you cross the 50, in my opinion. It's an offensive league. Every possession you giving up a possession and a possible first down. And if you get the first down there, you're now with Chase McLaughlin, you're in scoring territory. Mm. You can score 3 points at that point. Those are huge decisions. We're punting and getting, 50% of the time it's not even a touchback. So you're only gaining 20, 25 yards in field position at best. But you're giving up a possession. You can't do that in the NFL, not in an offensive league. That's not – defensive coaches love to do that. But sorry, that's not the way this league works anymore. So I think at least from a game management standpoint, it will avoid us punting from the opponent's 34-yard line like we did many times last year. So that's good.
Exactly. All right. Did you catch the new Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson, Michael Irving, and Richard Sherman, which, by the way, that's basically 2 former Tampa Bay Buccaneers on that panel. First and foremost, what do you think of that panel? Does that work for you? With Skip Bayless going away from Shannon Sharp, now you got Keyshawn Johnson, you got Richard Sherman, and Michael Irvin. Does that work for you? Is that must-see TV, JP?
Keyshawn Johnson?
Yeah.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy who quit on his team. The guy who quit on his team because John Gruden yelled at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I think every time I hear Keyshawn talk, I learn nothing. I learn absolutely nothing. He doesn't do his homework. There's so many better analysts that could be that you could have. He's a name because he played in New York and he played in LA. And people know him. They think he knows a lot about football. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything insightful about the game of football. It's very obvious stuff. It's Captain Obvious. He doesn't do his homework. I have no interest in listening to Keyshawn Johnson. He has no credibility with me. That's how I feel. Michael Irvin. Hey, Michael Irvin's entertaining. He's entertaining. He's it's a little bit much for me, but he's entertaining. So I like that part of it. Who else we got on the panel?
Richard Sherman, which
I like Richard Sherman.
Right.
I like Richard Sherman a lot. Yeah. He's insightful.
Yeah.
He definitely does his homework when I've heard him do analysis of things. I love Richard Sherman. I'll listen to Richard Sherman. Absolutely.
Well, of course, him and Skip got.
Do I have to listen to Skip Bayless though?
Yeah, you do, and that's the thing. They have some history together, being Sherman and of course Skip Bayless. When
Skip Bayless does, I think. Listen, he has turned into nothing more than a hot take, overblown guy, and his style of talking is so grating. Mm-hmm. He's just so patronizing and just talks down to you. No wonder nobody wants to work with him. Yeah. He's just, I can't stand the guy. I can't stand listening to the guy. Listen, he's got some good perspective from a historical, he's been around. But he just seems to me constantly to be a hot take guy, just trying to get clicks. And just his style of talking is just I can't watch it. So as a group, Yeah. I won't watch a minute of it. Watch a minute of it.
They were talking about Baker Mayfield this year. Skip was saying a lot of great things about Baker. Unlike,
I love Skip. Did I mention I love Skip?
Right, there you go.
He loves Baker Mayfield. I love him.
Well, there you go. And Richard Sherman was saying the reason why he thinks Baker is going to be successful in this offense is what? Because of Mike Evans, and he said his full name, and of course Chris Godwin. So for me, I think that's interesting because all we've heard throughout this whole process, JP, is how the national media is down on the Bucs and they're down on Baker Mayfield, unless you're Nick Wright, who loves Baker Mayfield also.
Who does his homework, by the way. Nick Wright does his homework.
Right.
Yeah, listen, I think people are warming up to it, by the way. You think there's more people that are starting to, start looking past the Tom Brady's gone, so they're going to suck mentality. And when you dig into the roster, when you do 10 minutes of homework on the Buccaneers, you can't come out with 2 wins or 3 wins. You just can't unless you know nothing about football.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like Cowturd will say it's a coach and quarterback league. And when you look at Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield, their history, their record, I get it. When you look at it from that standpoint, that's true. But it's not always a coach and quarterback result, right? There are anomalies in this league. I mean, who is it? Is it easy to sit here and say, Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes are really good and they're going to be good this year? Ooh, thank you, Captain Obvious. That's great. Right. Duh. You can look at quarterbacks and you can look at Trevor Lawrence and Peterson and go, yeah, that's a good mix. I think that's going to work. You can look at I'm trying to think of other quarterback combinations here. I think, you can look at the Bills and say, you know what, that looks like that's going to work, but it's Captain Obvious, right?
Sure.
A great quarterback and a coach that's been there a little while with McDermott, they're going to be pretty good. So let's look at some of the outliers. And here's the thing, man. The NFC is not great.
No.
Where are the coach quarterback combinations at the NFC that just blow you away?
No, I mean, you look at what? Jalen Hurts, and who's the coach there? But they lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Are they going to be?
Yeah, Shane Steichen's gone.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you would think that there would be some repercussions for that. McVay and Stafford. Yeah, they were good for that 1 year, but Stafford looks like he's seen his best days, right? So
yeah, is his arm healthy this year? I think I tend to think, and when coaches start talking about retirement when they're 14 years old, I mean that bugs me. Sean McVay is he invested? Is he invested, or is he already thinking for the big payday in the booth? I don't know. He came back and it's hard to rebuild. It's hard to rebuild. Nobody wants to go through that as a coach, right? It's tough to do, especially in this league, where you got salary caps and drafts and everything is, it's not like college football where you can walk into a situation where you're ridiculously more talented than everybody else. If you're Alabama or you're Georgia or Ohio State, one of these perennial powers. So it's tough in the NFL, and Sean McVay ready for that. We'll see. And they did the whole thing. They went all in. They have the draft picks, right? Have the draft picks, bring in all the talent, do what the Bucs did. You got your prize. Now, how do you rebuild after that? It's tough. The Bucs are going through that right now. You don't have the full salary cap to use, right? You got all this dead money. You've got a lot of older veterans that have left your team that were key pieces. I'm talking about JPP. Fournette at one point was really good before he got fat.
Fat net.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tough. And so you look at the Buccaneers, and I think that's another reason people are like, they're going to be young. They're going to struggle. Well, and listen, I'm not here to guarantee 11 wins, right? Sure. But Vegas says 6.5. I'm pretty set on going over there. I mean, that's going to be a pretty easy bet, I think. But we're close to it, right? We can see it, and maybe we got a little bit of pewter glasses. Red pewter glasses going on here. I'll be the first to admit a little bit of that going on, but also I just can't see how you look at a roster like this and say it's going to be that bad.
Right.
I mean, Todd Bowles is going to have to be the worst coach in America to get 2 wins out of this team. Like the worst coach, including high school and peewee coaches as well.
Right.
The roster is way better than that. But listen, have I been impressed with the way Todd Bowles has been a head coach? No. As much as I love the dude, and I think he's a great guy and a tremendous role model, his coaching record sucks. It's not good. And so he needs to be better. I think there are signs that he's going to be better this year. So let's live in our hopes that that's going to be the case. And, hopefully this organization has looked at some of his deficiencies as a head coach, i.e. managing games, and got him some help. And maybe he won't be making all those decisions on fourth down that were so bad, and not, taking a strategy based on Tom Brady throwing an interception late in the game. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Hopefully he will be better than that.
Let's go to New England. They let go of Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham, the guy from Louisville. Now there's one quarterback on the roster, and Mac Jones. Tell me why you think this is not going to be a disaster in the making with New England, because all we heard throughout the offseason was how Belichick and Mac Jones went back and forth. Jones was nearly traded, or Belichick wanted to trade him, and he didn't get traded. I mean, I just feel like Belichick is losing that luster ever since he lost Brady, right? He has not been the same coach. So convince me right now that the New England Patriots are going to be any better than they were last year.
They got a really good defense. Okay. And they have an offensive coordinator. I mean, listen, name me a coach in the NFL who could go through a season without an offensive coordinator and still keep his job. There are none.
Right.
There are maybe Andy Reid, maybe, but they're few and far between. It's a joke. Belichick, since Brady has left, has made some very, very curious moves. And that not having an offensive coordinator last year was one of them. Is Mac Jones a upper tier quarterback in this league? My gut feeling says no, but he's going to really suck without an offensive coordinator. And that's what we saw last year.
You had Matt Patricia, who has no experience as an offensive coordinator. He's a terrible defensive coordinator too. What are we doing here?
Belichick seems to have lost it to me. There's a lot of things that he's done since Brady left that are just head scratching.
Right.
And I think his legacy is going to be, he was great with Brady. He was mediocre otherwise. So, this is not ideal. You don't have a backup quarterback at this point. I mean, what are we doing here? He'll go find somebody, obviously, but you got to get him up to speed within the next couple of weeks. And if Mac Jones goes down injured in the first couple of weeks, you got somebody who's just coming in, who's a complete neophyte to learn the system. Maybe he'll go get a Brian Hoyer or somebody. I don't know if he's even still playing that can come in and do the job. I don't know. You don't want to second guess Belichick, but I think we can all second guess the fact that he didn't even have an offensive quarter last year. At least he's got Bill O'Brien this year. Look, if Mac Jones stays healthy, I think that, they're in a tough division. They're in a really, really tough division now with Aaron Rodgers in there, and the Dolphins look good. Suddenly that division looks really tough. You got the Bills, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. The Miami Dolphins are a talented group. If Tua can stay healthy, they're going to be tough. So where does that leave New England? At the bottom of the heap, really, in terms of talent. But they've got a good defense. They'll be in games. If Bill O'Brien can get a Mac to play and he stays healthy, they got a shot. They got a shot.
All right. Many Bucs fans have said that the Bucs should be interested in Bailey Zappi or Malik Cunningham. Do you think the Bucs would be interested in any one of these quarterbacks at this point, especially a Cunningham, who also played wide receiver in camp? He's highly athletic, very raw. Should the Bucs take a flyer on one of these players, in your opinion?
Malik Cunningham is very Lamar-esque, not just because he played at Louisville. That guy's got ridiculous skills, but he's also a very erratic passer. All right. I mean, look, the league is going towards athletic quarterbacks. I get it. I don't know if Malik is refined enough to be a good player in this league, but he doesn't have to come in and play. But this offense suits his skills pretty well. John Wolford, maybe not as much. I think they like Wolford in the quarterback room. It's a good mix. Mm-hmm. He's, quote, the smartest guy in the room. He knows the scheme better than anybody else. So I think he probably makes more sense at this particular point. But Malik Cunningham is interesting. And, the Bucs want to get younger and more talented and faster. That guy does it for you. He does it for you. So it's intriguing. Can I put it in the intriguing category?
Absolutely, you can. And I think there's, again, a lot of fans out there. And fans, they always, and I feel like, anytime somebody gets cut, the fans want the Bucs to automatically sign them without, considering fit, considering how much they're going to cost. That's every fan's dream. Now, with that being said, the Saints released Bradley Roby, nickel corner, 31 years old, started 10 games. Do you think that could be somebody the Bucs would be interested in, especially with how young they are? Itzian, Roby from the Saints. You get him, you steal him from a division rival. Maybe you can get some secrets from him on how that defense works. He's still somewhat of a productive player. Or would you pass if you're the Bucs and go with what you have at the end of it?
I think, this goes back to the, would Todd Bowles want him? Yes. Would Jason Light want him? No. All right. You know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Right? This is who's in charge here. Are we building for the future or are we trying to win this year? This is a quintessential choice in that regard. Izzy, I like his instincts. The way he punched that ball out last week. What we've seen from him. I like his instincts. You got Josh Hayes, who's I think he's an interesting player. He's got some good skills. So I think you want to see these kids grow and see what they can grow into. You bring Roby in. He's just he's keeping those guys from getting those snaps and growing as players. So if you'd have judged Rondé Barber on the first year, you wouldn't have thought much, right? Mm-hmm. He became a great player. I think they have some feeling that Josh Hayes and some of these young players can be good. So I would say that's a pass for now. If guys get hurt and the depth is down, then maybe you go get them. But right now, that's a pass for me.
All right. How much of a disaster is it with the Indianapolis Colts with basically ownership not being able to find a trade for Jonathan Taylor and now putting him on the PUP list the first 4 games? I mean, how bad is that Colts team going to be this year with a rookie quarterback and Anthony Richardson, who, we saw flashes of brilliance, but it is what it is. He's a raw player. He definitely needs reps. And you take your best weapon from Taylor, who just, a couple years ago was an MVP, and you put him on the PUP list because you can't find value. How much of a disaster, in your opinion, is it in Indy?
Well, this goes under the whole idea that owners should be silent and write checks. And Irsay is a clown. He's a clown. And he's the reason probably that Andrew Luck isn't playing anymore in Indianapolis. They can say what they want, but that organization probably should have won more than they've won because this guy's a clown. And this is all on the owner. This is all on the owner. Has nothing to do with anybody else. Chris Ballard is a very good GM. He's a smart guy. He's been handcuffed by his owner. And you can't go out there and make the mistakes and the public statements that Irsay has made. And he's caused this entire issue. Look, other running backs, you see what all these other guys were like, oh, I don't want to play. We're undervalued, blah, blah, blah. They come back and sign a contract and they play, right? That's what happens. That's what happened with Saquon. Look, that's what should have happened with Jonathan Taylor. Just bring him back. He would have held out. He would have held out. But without the rhetoric from Irsay, I think Jonathan Taylor. And why wouldn't you want him to play there? I mean, why wouldn't you? Your quarterback needs him. Your quarterback needs him. You had to have found a way to make that guy happy and continue to evolve as a franchise, because you have all put all your eggs into the Anthony Richardson basket, right? Mm-hmm. So just like we did with Tom Brady, everything had to be about Tom Brady, making him great, giving him every tool he needed to win a Super Bowl. And that's what the Bucs did. They probably made moves they didn't want to make. Signing Russell Gage last year. That's something Jason Light would never have done if not for Tom Brady. There's a lot of things we probably wouldn't have done if not for Tom Brady. But we did, and we won a Super Bowl, won 13 games, went to 3 straight playoffs. How do you argue with that? With the Colts, everything has to be about Anthony Richardson. And the number one thing a young quarterback needs is a great running back in a running game. And you took that away from him. And you turned your entire team into total chaos. And how do you think the other players feel about playing for Irsay after the shit that he said on They don't. The entire team now is compromised because of the owner. Thank you, Glazers. Thank you, Glazers, for being who you are. You write the checks. They don't think they don't have a say, but they keep it out of the public. Look what Jerry Jones just did to his team with Trey Lance. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I have no idea what he's doing. He just paid one of the richest contracts in NFL history to Dak Prescott, and I get it. He has his fair share of turnover problems. But, yeah, JP, that's not really a great vote of confidence there to your quarterback, who's supposed to be, once again, your franchise quarterback. And I kind of look at it differently. If you're a franchise quarterback, it's basically a relationship. I always say this, you want to tell a woman that she's your one and only. You say, right. I want you to be my franchise quarterback, because you want to build around them. And that's exactly what the Cowboys should have been doing, is building around Dak. And now you're basically trading for Trey Lance, which I get it. You have potential. He's a 3rd overall pick. You trade a 4th-round pick for him, and Dak has got to be thinking, why the hell did I sign this big-time contract in the first place when now the owner is looking at other prospects like a Lance, who's basically done nothing ever since he was with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
This is why owners should not be general managers, right? You need to, the powers need to be separated for a reason. Coaches need to coach. General managers need to general manage, do the personnel. Owners need to own. Now, they can all work collectively, but you can't have, because it's a conflict of interest. Jerry Jones is protecting his financial ass by bringing in Trey Lance, so that the next time he has to, up with Dak Prescott, there's not a gun to his head. He has an option, I'll just go to Trey Lance. If you're not going to play for this money, then I'll just go to Trey Lance, right? So he's protecting his negotiating butt by bringing this guy in. But for the coaching hat, the coach, who, by the way, wasn't even really consulted on this, go figure on that. Mm-hmm. You think the coach has a room where Will Grier was one of Dak Prescott's good buddies. They go to work every day, and you're asking them to be there 12, 14 hours a day in a room, right, with guys that are supposed to be working towards supporting the starting quarterback. Now you put Trey Lance in the room, and I don't know who he is. I have no idea what his personality is. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I know this: Dak Prescott didn't sound very happy about it. And why would he be? You got a quarterback room that you like. Cooper Rush is your backup. He's not a guy that's, stabbing you in the back. Will Grier is supporting you as well. You're all buddies. It's a great room to go to work. Things are going to get done. Now you put him in a room 14 hours a day, and it's completely dysfunctional. That's not supporting your quarterback. That's not something, you think Jerry thought about that? No, Jerry doesn't think about that. He's thinking about, my negotiating issues after this year. So it doesn't work, folks. And thank you for the Glazers for being the owner. I know nobody at Man United wants to hear that, but I don't care about Man United. The way they've run this team is exemplary, and Super Bowl championships are the reason why. So there you go.
All right, going back to Jonathan Taylor, do you think that the NFL Players Association will have something to say about this, seeing as Taylor has disputed the claims that his back is hurt, that he's really injured? Do you think the NFL Players Association could step in, and basically this situation could get even more messier than it already is?
They should. They should step in. I mean, this is their job to support their players in these grievances against management. So, again, I'm not sure what the facts are here, but I know Irsay put Jonathan Taylor in a very bad position, didn't put him out there on the trade market until all the money was gone and teams are already set on their rosters. It's a bad situation for Jonathan Taylor. I don't know why the Colts have kind of submarined themselves with this as well. Maybe they're tanking. I don't know. They already have their quarterback. What more do they need? So they want more draft picks next year. I don't know. It just, the whole thing seems ridiculous, and it's all owner generated. So, I say to myself, and I think this is an interesting question. Should the Buccaneers go after a Jonathan Taylor? Well, first of all, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to do it. They would have to probably sign him to a future contract. That's what he's looking for. And obviously the Bucs are not in a position right now to sign a running back to a long-term deal and an expensive deal. And I'm not for that anyway. I think you can find running backs to do what you need to do. And I think we've got a talented group of running backs right now. Who's to say, Sean Tucker and Rashad White and Keyshawn and Chase are not, as a collective, better than Jonathan Taylor as a one. And I think they are. And it gives you salary flexibility moving into the future. And again, and putting your eggs in one basket, what if that guy gets hurt? It's an attrition league, especially in the running back position, which he did last year. So even though he's talented, and would he make the Bucs a better team this year? Yeah, I think he would. I think he would. We're going to run the football a lot. Yeah, I think he would. Would we have an improved running game? Yeah. But would we be better as a franchise moving forward? That's a no.
Yeah, because you're going to have to give up draft capital and you're going to have to pay him. The perfect place for Taylor, just imagine how frightful this would be. The Chicago Bears. He's used to cold weather. He had all kinds of carries at Wisconsin. You have Justin Fields there. Really, do they have a running back? Because I believe they cut Deontay Foreman yesterday. So Jonathan Taylor, for me, would make sense there, just depending on how much you'd have to give up. Last question here. What quarterback is more successful out of the rookies? C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans, Bryce Young with the Carolina Panthers, or Anthony Richardson with the Colts?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think all of them are going to struggle. I really do. I think all of them are going to struggle. I want to say C.J. Stroud, but organizationally, I don't know, if he's got enough weapons there to really help him. Offensive line. Out of the three of them, I'll go C.J. Stroud. Okay. I don't believe in Bryce. He's just too small for this league. I love his ability, but to me, it's another Tua situation. He's just, it's hard. It's hard. It's not only hard for him to see downfield, it's hard for the receivers to pick up the ball coming out. So I'm going to go C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, and they just got rid of DJ Moore, one of their top weapons. So you have Adam Thielen, who's okay, and then what else do you have there? And you could see Young was basically standing up on his tippy toes when he was trying to throw the ball in preseason. And again, that's against second and third stringers. This is not, first guys here. So you kind of wonder, again, what's the transition process going to be all about, especially with rookie quarterbacks. But it seems like it's been a thing where you draft a guy and you play him right away. He doesn't have that opportunity to develop or sit behind somebody. Aaron Rodgers, a couple years there, had to sit behind Brett Favre, and then it seemed like he was ready. So I feel like one of these teams could reset, and you could look at one of these quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. It seems like it's more relevant at this juncture.
All right, partner, let's take a break. We'll come back. We're going to hit some college football. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawGroup.com. If you have any issues with your insurance company post-storm, the Jeeves Law Group can help you with that. Get an attorney to represent you, because insurance companies, they don't like to pay. They don't like to pay. You got to make them pay. So Jeeves Law Group knows how to deal with insurance companies, JEEVESLawGroup.com. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center, if you're looking to get a new primary care physician, get mine, Chris Lugo. He's the best, BAMMC.com. Back in a bit. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendimondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the show here on this Idalia Wednesday. I was just perusing Twitter and some media to get some of the videos of the flooding. And dude, I'm going to retweet this one. Maybe I could show it here.
Is it that bad?
No, it's these dudes. I don't even know what kind of raft this is. They're like kayaking down Bayshore Boulevard. Hold on. I'm trying to. This is like so hilarious. Look at these two guys. I want you to see this. The seriousness of this storm for just 1 second. Look at this. Like they're on a floaty. It's like what, watermelons?
You're trying to do a stand-up and you have that behind you. How do you not lose your stuff? I mean, seriously, how do you not lose it?
Oh my God, it's so funny.
That's funny.
This guy, talk about going viral. These gets down Bayshore Boulevard. I'm gonna retweet this now so you guys can see this on my Twitter. This is hilarious. My God, I don't even know. I thought I recognized the guy, to be quite honest with you.
That's funny.
Yeah. Somebody's like, they're saying, "Oh, did the CNN reporter stage this?" I don't know if the timing was excellent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
I mean, don't want to make light. A lot of people are getting flooded out in the Tampa Bay area. Clearwater, downtown Clearwater's, all the barrier islands, I think, are going to be completely washed over with the storm surge. So I think by the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of water damage, and insurance companies are going to be inundated. And from what we saw last year with Hurricane Ian, a lot of the insurance companies don't want to pay, and I feel sorry for because people say, "Yeah, I'm insured; it'll be fine." Will it? I don't know. There was strange times we live in, and normally you'd say, "Yeah, the insurance company is going to step up and take care of business." That's why I say you're going to need an attorney. The Jeeves Law Group is there to help you out in these instances. So get your stuff together, whatever documents you have, and if you need help, talk to the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. You're going to need it. So.
All right. I know we've been talking baseball here, but this came across yesterday. I don't know if you saw this or not, JP. The Los Angeles Angels have placed starter Lucas Giolito, relievers Matt Moore, Ronaldo Lopez, and outfielders Hunter Renfroe and Randall Grushczyk on waivers. Sources tell ESPN huge potential playoff implications. All can be claimed by teams for free on Thursday, And also, Harrison Bader, who has been a Rays killer for the Yankees, was also placed on waivers. If the Rays have an opportunity, and I get it, the waiver order there doesn't favor the Rays, but let's say the Rays have an opportunity to get one of these guys, should they claim one of them to help out, especially a Giolito who, yeah, I get it, he's going to cost you some money here in the next couple months, but you still need help in your pitching rotation.
We just got a guy, bro. Chris Davinsky. Chris Davinsky we picked up from the Angels. Former All-Star, but not, it was back in 2017. This year he's 3-2 with a 5.08 ERA. But you know what Chris Davinsky is? He's cheap.
Well, he's cheap. Right.
He's cheap. A lot of these other guys cost money. But yeah, this is major playoff implications. Normally you don't see guys like these hitting the waiver as the Angels just completely try to dump everything they could possibly dump. What a disastrous outcome for the Angels. They just, it was Joe Madden. This is why Joe Madden, got fired and why Joe Madden would never play for the Angels anymore. It's a disastrous organization. They have no idea what they're doing. This is a team that had Ohtani and Trout for how long and couldn't win squat.
Yeah.
They're just really, really bad. Artie Moreno is a terrible. What do we get? Once again, three most important things in professional sports: ownership, and ownership. Right. And this is what happens when you let these guys run the coop. And, listen, nobody wanted to be known as the guy who traded Shohei Ohtani, but you know what you should have done? Traded Shohei Ohtani. Because you can still, if you were so confident you were going to re-sign him, you could have got a huge haul for him and then re-signed him. Now, of course, he was open to the highest bidder and will be at the end of the year. And you look at what happened, and this is one of the reasons I said you don't trade for Shohei Ohtani. You don't give up your future 4, 5, 6 prospects for one guy, because if he gets hurt, and look what he's trying to do, pitch and play the field, eventually something bad was going to happen, and it did. So, they screwed the whole thing up. They could be sitting here with a boatload of great prospects, and what they're sitting here with is with an injured Ohtani and all these overpriced players. They went out and bought Giolito at the deadline, gave up prospects. Just horrible, horrible, horrible moves. But yeah, I mean, the Rays have to look at, and here's the thing though. They've won 9 of 11. All these cheap players they got are playing great. And it goes back to what David Ortiz said yesterday, is the Rays have figured out how to win in the regular season. The 162, but in a 7-game series, it's going to be tough to have the big time players that make the big time plays, the Mookie Bettses of the world, those guys, Bryce Harper's that make difference in post games and postseason. I mean, that's where it's won. Now the Rays look great in the regular season. They're going to continue to win games, but when you look at the elite pitching that they're going to face in the postseason, is this lineup going to be good enough? It was last night against an elite pitcher. And so maybe the subtraction of Wander Franco has become a huge addition, that this team, it looks like to me, they're playing more like they did in the beginning of the season, where they're taking their walks. They're not overswinging. They're not going out of the strike zone to try to be the hero. They're letting it go to the next guy and let him do the work. And this group seems to be much more together, much more in line, and they're playing great baseball. So these are some very tantalizing pieces that are out there. Certainly that would help their offense and their pitching staff and add some depth. But is it something that you want to do right now? And a lot of them are expensive players, and you have to, if they have future contracts, you got to commit to those contracts as well.
All right, Jeff Passan was reporting on this. He also had this to say on the Michael Kay show yesterday. He says Josh Donaldson trade is a big part of the Yankees' downfall. He says, to me, the cause of all of this, of the necessity to go out and get out of these guys, the greatest place you can criticize the Yankees over the last 15 years is their drafts. They've drafted incredibly poorly over the last 15 years. Now, an example of this is Everson Pereira and Oswald Peraza and Jason Dominguez from AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 3 of their top prospects who entered the franchise via international free agency. On the Donaldson trade, he says the Donaldson trade was terrible. That was bad from the jump. I think Donaldson trade was bad from the start because the Yankees knew just how poorly he was getting along with people in Minnesota, and there was some toxicity going on there. I don't think you can look at the Donaldson trade in a positive way. Of course, the Yankees giving up Gary Sanchez and infielder Gio Urshela, for the Twins. At the time of the trade, Donaldson was 35 years old, coming off a season in which he hit .247 with 26 home runs. He hasn't done basically squat. And he also said the reason why Cashman most likely is going to lose his job is because he's trying to go out and throw money at players. You're taking a chance at the end of the day. You're not doing what the Rays are doing, which is developing in the draft. Do you agree with that?
100%. 100%. Brian Cashman is an old school general manager. And this is why, the Red Sox went out and hired Chaim Bloom. Now, you can make some arguments, as David Ortiz has done, that you can't go all the Rays' way. And this is what I think Andrew Friedman has done so well. Andrew Friedman is built up through the organization and made smart trades and smart acquisitions, and then spent the money where he thought it was best spent. Now, he hasn't been perfect, right? But the Dodgers, they've won the World Series. They've been in contention each and every year, while the Yankees just continue to struggle. And it's because Friedman has married the money with the magic, so to speak, right? The Rays magic with the money, and done a really good job of it. Chaim Bloom hasn't done that yet. Should Chaim Bloom have kept Mookie Betts? I would say yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a mistake. I think David Ortiz pointed that out. And that's where you got to marry the magic, the Rays magic, with the money. And that's what we have not done yet. And so once we get a new ownership group in here who's not all about just stuffing money in their pockets, and will reinvest the money that the team makes in this market, especially with a new stadium in Tampa, and then we can, go out and invest in those players. So marry the magic with the money, and that's where the World Series success will be, in my opinion. So will the Rays go out and spend money on these players? No, because they're competitive in a cheap way, and they'll go into they'll make the playoffs. Will they win the World Series? If Randy gets hot and hits 10 home runs in the postseason, maybe they'll get there. But what are the chances of that happening again? Very slim.
Yeah, very slim. And then on top of it, with the Rosarena, his contract coming up, he's a Scott Boras. He ain't signing here. He ain't signing here, so that's disappointing. All right, do you want to go out to the Kevin Cash sound from last night after they clobbered the Miami Marlins 11-2?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, here we go.
And also, you rallied again late. You've been doing that a lot lately. What kind of goes into that?
Well, Alcantara was really good again. We got some big hits right there at the last inning. None bigger than probably Hosey's once we tied it to get the 2-run double. And then it seemed like, our momentum really picked up and had a bunch of good at-bats, a bunch of hard hit balls. And then the game opened up with some big home runs from a couple guys.
Randy Rosarena, his career-high 21st home run. Seems like he's on a pretty good warming trend.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me. And he's probably as important as anybody to get it going. And here as of late, he's starting to have some better at-bats, and to see him drive a ball like that, you don't see many guys hit a ball that hard and that high, and Randy's probably one of the few that can.
And then Isak Paredes, you're getting used to him getting big hits there, a big single, and then obviously the 3-run homer to kind of finish breaking it open.
Yeah, came through for us with this single, that's such a tough matchup for any right-handed hitter or any hitter against Alcantara. But then he really stayed on a pitch from, I think it was a fastball from Lopez for the 3-run homer.
And then just overall, I think you've now won 19 of your last 28, 9 of your last 11. You've got to feel pretty good about the way the team's playing.
Yeah, I feel really good. Just want to keep it up.
Speaking of those stats, I believe you guys are like 10-4 since Wander left the lineup. I talked to guys before the game. They said Diekman, Yandy, and Eflin have been real big leaders for you guys lately. Can you talk about their roles? What have they done specifically over the last couple of weeks here to lift you guys up?
Look, I feel like we got a lot of good teammates out there, and they are doing things to kind of embrace the younger guys, whether it's Basabe or Brujan or like a guy like Aaron Savali that just came over. So I think to a man, they've been really, really supportive of each other.
You guys made Sandy throw 110 pitches in 5 2/3. Given how efficient he's been in the past, how'd you kind of like the way that you did work to him, even he didn't get a lot of runs early on?
Yeah, look, he was really efficient until that really the last inning and a half, like 2 innings. I mean, but he's just so good that he's going to get a lot of early outs because you don't want to fall behind. He's going to put the ball on the ground, let the defense play. But it was nice because last time we saw it 90 pitches or whatever it was through 9 innings, and that didn't bode too well for us.
What do you think of Savali? Long first inning, but limited the damage.
I thought he was outstanding. I mean, it was a lot of pitches. Gave up 1-run battle that inning just to give up 1. And then the pitch that Chisholm Jr. hit, that's a pretty good pitcher's pitch. So you tip your cap, but to leave the ball game 2-1 felt really good.
Harold is 9 for 15 as a pinch hitter this season. Just what makes him good in those spots?
I think it's that he doesn't overthink the situation too much. He's very much a see ball, hit ball type hitter, and whatever the pitcher's doing, I think he picks up on that pretty quick.
All right, so there you go, right there, and he mentions it basically in so many words. Harold Ramirez 9 for 15 as a pinch hitter. I mean, he had a big hit last night because it makes it 5-2. And we know, 2 runs, you're down 4-2. An extra run always helps. And it feels like that lineup at that point really got more comfortable as the night went on because.
Yeah, they're picking each other up, man. They're getting big hits in certain situations. Siri had the biggest hit of the night last night, I thought. Paredes was pretty big too, that single. But and Harold comes on as a pinch hitter. He's just 9 for 15. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Yes.
So yeah, he's playing really, really well. And as a team, they're playing terrifically well. So they win the two-game series here in Miami, and now have won 6 series in a row. So hard to argue with that. But still, they can't catch the freaking Orioles. It's unbelievable. Now that series, September 3rd through the 5th, I believe. Is that right? When we play?
I thought it was the 10th to the 14th. Or let me just check that really quick here. Let's go ahead and
check that race schedule real quick.
Yes, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do.
I think they have 2 series left with the Orioles, do they not? Check the schedule.
Let's see here. Rays play them September 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. For that series, and that's against Baltimore, and that's it. That's basically it. So you got 14th through the 17th.
That's probably going to decide the East right there. That's probably going to decide it just with everything else that's going on because all those games are worth 2, basically. So, you know what? Meaningful games in September. That's what Stu talks about. So, all right. I think we need to hit one more break. And then when we come back, we got college football at the Yin Yang coming up starting tomorrow night. The Gators at Utah. I will be watching that with great interest. I know a lot of people will. I think we're going to have a live report from Utah tomorrow from one of my Gator fans. So we'll have that for you tomorrow. So we get into college football. Who's the starting quarterback at USF? We're brought to you by Extravaganza Productions. If you have a big event coming up, a birthday, maybe a big event, a charity event, whatever, Extravaganza Productions can make you look like a pro because they are the pros. I've worked with them many, many times. They did the Florida Sports Hall of Fame banquet. They've done so many big events like the Warrior Games. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Get a free creative evaluation and session with them. Just mentioning the JP show. You can contact them through the website, extravaganzaproductions.com. Back in a bit, college football.
The mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this very wet Wednesday as we head to a college football weekend. So our thoughts and prayers obviously going out to those who are being flooded. I'm seeing all the video now up in Steinhatchee and Cedar Key and some of these beautiful places that I've visited over my many years here in Florida. It's tough to watch, but they'll recover. They'll recover. This is, the weather. The weather is the weather. Please stop with the climate change stuff. Everybody yelling and screaming about climate change because there's a hurricane. My God, people, know your history. Do a little bit of research, for God's sakes. Yeah. Speaking of knowing our history, one of our Facebook folks says Ken Welch wants to keep the Rays in St. Pete, so it's highly unlikely that the Rays will be playing in Tampa. I don't mean to laugh, but Ken Welch doesn't have the power to keep the Rays in St. Petersburg just because he wants to. And I don't think it's probably very smart for him to spend $700 million on a failed location and put up a baseball stadium. And I think it's one of the reasons you haven't heard a lot about this lately is because from what I'm hearing in the back channels, the possible sale of this team is being negotiated and discussed. And obviously the new owner is going to want the team to be in Tampa because that's where the long-term money is. Major League Baseball will not let them build a stadium in St. Petersburg, even though Stu probably wants to for the short-term gain, monetary gain that he will get from it. Major League Baseball knows, and the owners who really run this thing, they don't want to give revenue-sharing dollars to the Rays anymore. And if they build another stadium in St. Petersburg, that might be something they have to do. They would rather them build it in Tampa, where there's a lot more long-term revenue from a new stadium, new premium seating, do exactly what the Braves have done. We've talked about this ad nauseum, as must be a new listener. But just because Ken Welch wants the Rays to be in St. Petersburg doesn't mean they're going to be there. There's a lot more factors that goes into it. So.
It's our good friend Mike Stover. He's tuning in here on.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for tuning in. And we've done a lot on this. You may be a newcomer to the show, and there's a lot more that goes into it. And I know the mayor wants to throw money at the Rays for them to stay there. But again, it's not Stu's decision alone. It has to be approved by the owners. They're not going to approve it because they don't want it in St. Petersburg because it's a failed location. So as much as we love St. Pete, and we love St. Pete, and we hope all the people are safe and the downtown is going to survive this storm. So, yeah, there's a lot more to it. And my money, and I think because the money is there, eventually it will be in Tampa. All right, big college football weekend coming up, obviously headlined by the game that's going to be right down the road here. FSU, number 5 FSU against number 8 LSU. Jaden Daniels against Jordan Travis, two of the best quarterbacks in college football. Man, this is going to be a shootout. The offensive fireworks are going to be ridiculous. I think FSU has the better defense, and that will hopefully win the day. So, but we shall see. This is going to be one hell of a football game, and I cannot wait. By the way, I don't know if I talked about this yesterday, but this is the first weekend we've had with the new rules. College football has gone away from stopping the clock after every first down, which made there 7% less plays in the game. That's significant. 7% less plays in the game. But the games aren't taking any less time. Do you know why?
Why is that?
They've added a commercial break.
Oh,
they've added a 3-minute and 30-second commercial break. Folks, if you're at a football game, which I go to a lot of college football games, if you're in a nationally televised one like the Florida State game last year, you sit there in the stands for what seems like a effing eternity. Any momentum in the game is completely lost by these television timeouts. They used to be 2 minutes. In the NFL, they're 2 minutes. In college football, they're now 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And this is all for greed. All this big money TV contracts that have been handed out, right? They got to recoup that money some way. So how are they doing it? They're selling more commercial spots, and they're creating more commercial spots in college football. Folks, this is a killer. I don't know how we push back on this, but we got to push back on this. This is, I mean, going to a game now, you sit there at 3 breaks a quarter, I believe, for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. So, yeah, these breaks should be 2 minutes at most. And the 3:30 is a momentum killer. It's bad. I mean, heck, football players are just standing out there for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. You're gonna see teams starting to go to sidelines and sit down because it's that long. I mean, NFL halftimes are 12 minutes. These individual breaks are now 3:30 in college football. It's an eternity, and they got to do something about it. I'm not happy about that.
I wouldn't be happy about it either, because you look at baseball and their new rules. I think it was designed for the fans, because those games used to go 3-4 hours at a time, and now it's going 2:30. So that cuts down on it. Of course, beer vendors would have something to say about how they don't like that rule. But I think college football, what makes it so unique is when you stop it for a first down, that makes it more exciting. Now you're not going to do that. That's kind of disappointing to me. That kind of takes all the fun out of collage football, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it the way it was. And its finishes were just tremendously exciting. And now it's not going to be enough time. So not a big fan of that. So we got FSU, LSU here. That's the big game of the weekend. But a lot of other very intriguing games as well. Obviously, the USF gets their start this weekend. Alex Golesh at Western Kentucky, 3:30 on Saturday. That'll be CBS Sports Network. Obviously, a complete turnover this roster. I think 49 new players at USF. Alex Golesh in his up-tempo game, which is fast. I mean, they run a play like every 17, 18 seconds. So that's going to be different if you're watching the game. And also, who the hell's the starting quarterback? We don't know. Is it Byron Brown? Is it who's the other guy?
Gary Bohannon.
Jerry Bohannon.
Gary Bohannon.
And they got a couple other guys in the mix too, the transfer. So they're not telling anybody who the starter is going to be. They're going to play it close to the vest. And, look, it's college football. I get it. It's especially in the first game, tougher to prepare for. Teams will adjust as the game goes on. I get it. So I would just say the way he's talked about Jerry Bohannon in the offseason makes me believe that he's going to be the starter. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. And the defense is where they're going to have to be better. They're just going to have to be way, way better defensively. That defense last year just didn't give them any chance to win. Tomorrow night, we got the Gators at Utah, number 14 Utah. Graham Mertz will be making his Florida debut as the starting quarterback, the Wisconsin transfer. Their new defensive coordinator, Austin Armstrong, how they've got to fix this Gator defense. This guy's 28 years old. He looks like he's about 22. Not a very impressive looking fellow, but can he coach? We'll find out. They're going to have a lot. I think they'll have 4 starters coming back on the Gator defense. So we'll see how that plays out against the Utah team that is bringing back a lot of good players. And, many have could be in the college football playoff with their particular schedule that they have. Who knows? But Utah's a good football team. We'll see what Florida beat them last year. I didn't think they would. I thought Utah would win that game, but Florida beat them last year at home. Now they got to go on the road, and there'll be a little score to settle. Deion Sanders, Colorado, will take on number 17 TCU. That's a noon game on Fox. Deion making his debut in the Power 5 conference, coming up from Jackson State. He's turned over their roster. He brought luggage and it's Gucci. And the rest of you guys who don't want to play here, don't want to give it all, get the hell out, what he said. So he's got a lot of new players, including his son, Shador, who's the starting quarterback. We'll see what number 7 TCU has lost their quarterback, obviously, and most of their big-time players from last year's surprising playoff team. But we'll see what Deion does in his debut. That's another one I'm looking forward to.
Upset in the making there. Do you think Deion is successful with Colorado? I mean, again, it goes back to USF. You can't get any worse, right? So does it get better with Colorado and Sanders this year, in your opinion, JP?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, he's got a talented team. He's got a really, really talented team. When he went up against some of the better coach teams at Jackson State, not as good a success as all the teams that he had, just over talented. So now your talent is equal to some of these other teams, probably less than against TCU. So can he outcoach TCU? Good luck with that. I'll just say good luck with that. I got TCU in this one, but we'll see what happens with Deion. What other games this weekend could be fun to watch? Well, that's about it. We're about out of time anyway, so enjoy it. We're going to preview the Florida-Utah game tomorrow on tomorrow's show, as long as Peter still has power.
Yes.
We'll be doing that. So good job today getting us up on the air. The podcast will be up and out there in just a little bit.
It will. I promise this time it will be there and it will have audio. I promise you.
Paul Stewart, thanks for joining us with his weak European Ryder Cup takes. We love having him on. So we will see you tomorrow. Guys, stay safe out there. And we'll talk some college football and Bucs tomorrow. See you then.